machine has one of these boxes on it now. Okay.
I'm Keren and Paloma, the CEO of Ethical Apparel Africa and a board director of Grace.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to go to the production meeting now.
I was always passionate about textiles. And so I formed a career in merchandising. I wanted to be where the manufacturing was. And I got to travel, visiting factories all over the world. And the garment industry was completely rife with people being treated badly.
Last month I worked 20 days, but they only paid me for 11, she said.
Inside this workshop, we immediately spot children at work.
There has been another horrific incident at a garment factory.
We didn't want to go up in the factory, she says, but management forced us to go in the factory.
I'm a strong Christian and I believe God made everybody unique and God made everybody special. And just because of where you were born, what your situations were when you were growing up, what your education provision was, doesn't mean that you shouldn't get to do a job that's worthwhile, that you shouldn't get treated with respect, that you shouldn't get the opportunity to grow as a person within your workplace. And so I was starting to think about how could I create a model for change? By treating people right, treating people respectfully, giving them a worthwhile job. So at the time I was working for the largest retailer in the world, which makes it very difficult to create change on a larger scale when you're just a very small part of that. I believe that God can speak directly into my life, and I had two people speak to me separately where they felt that God was saying to me, if you want to walk on the water, you've got to get out of the boat, which is parody of what happened in the Bible when Peter wanted to have faith and walk on the water towards Jesus.
But we still need to build work in progress to stress test each part of the line, because the problem is you look at the efficiency numbers, but if they haven't had the input, you can't tell whether they're actually achieving the output or not. So I've asked managers to start looking at what's the input for each operation as well.
And then 3 months later, out of the blue, I was laid off. I was made redundant.
So we need to stress test it and push more.
God effectively gave me a little shove out of the boat, and I realized then I needed to put my money where my mouth was, but I didn't know where to start. And I was fortunate enough to do a temporary consultancy role in Ghana for a consultancy group that happened to also be employing my now business partner, Paloma Shakat.
Okay. All right, go for it, Ms. Amal.
All right, so this one, Paloma, I need to check on cutting assembly.
My background is in research and economic development for women, looking at projects for women's savings accounts, women's entrepreneurship. In a lot of those projects, I would engage with the women in homestays and focus groups, and they would say to me, it's great to have a savings account or to be an entrepreneur, but what I would really like is a job. So that's what drew me to the industry rather than any interest in fashion or apparel, whereas Keren had been in the industry for a very long time, and we met consulting on a project to look at the potential of growth of apparel manufacturing in Ghana.
We are exclusively using it.
Paloma and I realized that there was a lot of stuff going on in Ethiopia, there was a lot of stuff going on in Kenya, but people weren't really looking at West Africa and realizing the potential of West Africa. That meant that we could create a baseline of ethical manufacturing in line with the government labour policies and everything else that was going on in the country to create an industry from scratch that was going to be right from the beginning.
Was the whole cutting team of 28 people flat out all month?
They were doing 488 leftover.
Apparel has a deservedly very poor reputation, but employs 60 million people globally. 70% of those people are women, and very quickly can provide a formal job career path.
USAID had just set up a program in Ghana to look at how they could increase trade from the country to the US with a focus on the apparel industry. And they gave us our first grant to do technical capacity building. And that was the start of Ethical Apparel Africa.
Ghana is a very exciting destination for US buyers and investors.
Ghana has a free trade agreement with the US under the African Growth and Opportunity Act.
Thank you.
It means we can export goods from Ghana to the US duty-free, where the vast majority of other countries, there is some duty attached. So immediately we have a 16 to 32% advantage depending on the product.
But you also have really favorable logistics into the East Coast of the US. between 16 and 30 days relative to 40 plus days from other industry hubs. So we really are very excited about Ghana and West Africa, and we're starting to see that excitement recognized by major US brands.
This factory is Margrace. It is about 2 hours outside of Accra in Koforidua. In 2019, when we took over the running of the factory, there was 50 people working at it. Today we have almost 500 employees working across 10 manufacturing lines, and we output between 80 to 120,000 units a month.
Our vision is to export 100 million by 2030, which is equivalent to 10,000 jobs.
My name is Ruben Katako. I am General Manager of Operations. So when I joined, I realized that they had a goal to actually help humanity, especially people in Koforidua. And I said, okay, this is a different attitude I have never seen in employer, so it would be great for me to join.
We want to work in a very different way from other apparel manufacturers in the world. My name is Muzammil Hussain Mughal, and I'm a general manager production in this company. We don't force people to do certain jobs. We don't push them. We don't impose or enforce anything on them.
How much input we have received so far?
We are looked at somewhat different than other manufacturing companies because we take special interest in our people to develop them, to help them grow. My name is Paul Allen. I'm the technical director with Ethical Apparel Africa. I thought this would be really exciting, something very, very different, something that could make a change. And we could do very good things for people. This area of Ghana is very traditional in clothing that they make in small workshops with their own local fabrics. But for us, we are dealing with mass channels, which is very different.
But the machines are set up correctly for this, yeah? Okay.
So we brought in a team who understood international quality levels, worked with top brands, understood the technical aspect of the garment, and their job is to develop local people that within a period of time could take over from that.
What we are trying to do is to build the local people more and more, to give them more hands-on training so that they can come to the next level.
To come here, you don't need any experience. All you need is a good hands, a good brain. We test their dexterity so we can know what job actually will match their ability.
My name is Florence Ajina. I work as a part-time supervisor. Koforidua doesn't have a lot of job opportunities here. We don't have a lot of companies here. So it's a bit difficult to get work and then all that, especially the women.
So the people normally do petty trading, which wasn't really earning them much. My name is Benes Oredu. I am the nurse of the factory. In case of injury, in case of minor ailments, and also to educate and train them on various and basic health conditions. When there was no factory or no business here, the people, they had a lot of challenges, financially, socially, even emotionally, to have a sense of belonging. Because when you come to Margrace, you feel like you have family, they have friends they can talk to. But if you are selling on the streets, you have no friend. Your customers are not your friends.
Challenges need to be brave. My name is Lydia Odru Ampuma. Well, no, a single mother. Obey no hackle and so I need Juma. We face challenges, baby. Was Obo, I own your Juma, no better nephew. The answer saw where you know, obey. I'll go back on over my bets. Like, oh, had ya. Instead of the back of no, or the baby Juma.
All investing has impact. It's just, what is the impact? Is it good or bad? Every business has an impact. I'm Jeff Kaler. I'm CFO and financial advisor to a large private family foundation and a family investment company. My role working for this family office is to look for investments. And hearing Paloma and Keren give their 10-minute pitch on the business, it pushed all my buttons. High employment, capital-intensive business, needs capital, huge opportunity for growth if it succeeds. And I just loved Keren and Paloma, and I loved their heart, for their employees and wanting to do something in an industry that does have a bad reputation. I became a believer in Jesus from reading the New Testament over and over again, and I was really captured by Jesus and his love for people. And I've come to believe that we have a duty to use our wealth to help people. God's given me this capital to manage, and as a faithful believer and follower of Jesus, I want to do right in the world.
We're not only trying to create good quality jobs that are paying people fairly, that are providing them with benefits, that are helping them to progress in their lives and their careers, that make them feel a sense of belonging, inclusion, and power in the workplace, but then we're also seeking to measure that and to help to figure out and contribute to industry understanding of where are those wins that are both good for people and have a good return on investment from a business standpoint.
And businesses work when they make profit. But what you do with that profit and how you steward that profit is the bit I think that makes us unique. We're here to reinvest that money back into growing it again, into creating more jobs, to creating more skilled workers.
And if it works, it will attract more capital. If all the wealthy Christians devoted 5% of their investment capital to Africa, that over the next decade would be transformational to the continent.
It's been a great experience being here. It has really helped me because I was not working. Now I'm able to support myself. I'm able to support my younger siblings. I'm able to support my family, my grandma. To come to know so much about the garment industry. And the skill I have gained has impacted my life.
I have never worked in a community like this. This is a community you feel you belong to.
I'm saying, I'm treating you good. Nah, teamwork and so you do your home as a family. You need to see Juma.
God's called all of us to a role in the time that we have on this earth.
Thanks, team.
Thanks, Paloma.
So I feel that the stewardship of the resources that God has given to me are to be used to ensure that everybody that works in the garment industry has a respectful job, a worthwhile job.
And we believe, the government believes, a lot of external stakeholders and brands believe that there's potential to stand up a $1 billion industry and create hundreds of thousands of jobs in Ghana.